Hi everyone, Jeremy here. Thank you so much for watching today. So I'm going to be making this 25th wedding anniversary card, so silver wedding. And I've got this 3D display ring and these gorgeous flowers, 25 in the center, and then a personalized message. So I haven't used any specialty dies to create this. So you may notice there's similar cards on my channel like this. And it was just inspired by Sam Calcott of Made to Surprise, but I've adjusted the display piece so it's larger, and then the size of this is narrower, and I've reduced this down as well. So it's all my own sizing, no specialty dies are required. If you've got a circle cutter, a dinner plate, you know, something circular you can draw around, you can easily create this. All you need is some cardstock, a scoreboard, and some scissors. So I'll just hold it up again so you can see all that gorgeous detail. I've used flower forming foam to create those gorgeous flowers, and I think it's absolutely stunning. So pleased with it. So it stands up by itself. Obviously it'll just be displayed like this. So without further ado, let's get into the tutorial. This is my first time making it, so I haven't made it before in terms of, you know, using my own measurements and making it without the die. So some of the measurements might need to be adjusted as we go along, but I'll sort of try and keep that, you know, to a minimum if I can. But as I said, we're sort of just working with the cardstock and seeing how sort of we go. So I've got a piece of 2 by 7.5, and along this piece I'm scoring at 1/2 inch and 1.5. So the width of the 3D card will be 1 inch wide. So this is narrower than the ones with the dies, and the circle display is bigger. So I've used my Cricut to cut 2 of these sort of semicircles, but you could achieve this with a circle cutter. For example, you can go along the edge of, you know, the edge of the cardstock and just cut into it, so you sort of bring the center of the circle down towards off the edge of the cardstock and use that. You could draw around a plate. You could use a circle die cut and trim sort of the top and the bottom off to get the same size. It doesn't have to be a semicircle. You could make this into a square stand. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to work on these 2 pieces first of all, and then we'll come back to the sort of the main section. So the semicircle measures just over 6.25, and it's about 1 3/8, just as sort of a guide to the size there. So fold and burnish along the score lines. You can add a little curve into it now or after, it's entirely up to you. So we're going to use that score line as a guide, and we're going to cut some teeth up to that score line. So kind of a bit like if you're doing a cracker. This is to help it be able to curve. So I'll bring that up a little closer for you to see now. So you've got that score line there and just cut in some teeth. So this will all be hidden, so I wouldn't worry too much about it being, you know, very sort of uniformed or perfect, because it will be covered. So I'm going to work my way along now and cut teeth along this side, and then the same on the opposite side. So once I've done that, I'll come back to you. Next, I'm going to add red tape just along this score line. Now, it's entirely up to you in terms of preference. When making these sort of style of cards, I like to use red liner tape and liquid adhesive. I've just found in terms of adding that strength and the glue lasting for some time, it's best to use both. But personal preference, if you think it's going to be enjoyed for a short period of time, then maybe you'll just go with the red tape or the liquid glue, entirely up to you. I'm just going to burnish that red tape, and I added a curve into it just to help it move along this semicircle. So I'm just going to start out matching that up to the very end. So just there like so, and then start following the shape around. As I said, I haven't made this before, so my measurements might be slightly off, so I might need to trim away a little bit. And then just go on the inside, and I forgot to add the liquid glue. Me telling you to use both. Oh dear. Were you shouting at the screen at me to say, Jem, what are you doing? Let's try her on this one, shall we? So I'm just going to add a little bit along there and along these pieces. So the edge that we've got completely lined up, I'm going to marry that one up, and then I'll trim the end off. So you should find it easier the second time because that curve is sort of already locked into place. So again, just go in and press those tabs down. So I'm just using the edge of this, just trim those tabs away, and then it gives me sort of a better area to cut across there. So the stand will sit open. Like so, and then I've got I've cut an additional piece in silver, and then the sentiment to go on that piece there. So I'm going to add that with some Polar glue to make sure that that's nice and strong. So I'm going to set the stand to one side, and we're going to work on the circular display now. So I'm going to bring my scoreboard back out. So this is going to be the front of the circle, and we're looking at about just under 6 3/4 wide. So as you can see, it is larger than the inspiration from Major Surprise. So I've got two pieces of 2 by as long as you can get it. So I've got 12, and I've scored it 1/2 and 1 1/2 on the 2-inch side, and then along the long side I've scored at 1/2 and 11.5. Again, these measurements might be slightly off because I am making this for the first time, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to need to wrap around the circle. And basically we're going to do the same as we did for the stand, although we've got a tab on each side for this one if we need it. So I think actually I'm going to trim away this tab, so you could probably get away with 11.5. And then on the side that we've got the tab left, just going to cut away those two end squares like so to create that tab, and then teeth along these two 1/2-inch sections, so the same as what we did with the stand. So I've got my two pieces now. I've added red liner tape and added a curve into the cardstock. I like to attach them together, just so I'm using one long piece, and then remove the red liner tape from the one side. So I'm going to start off anyway, and I've got a circular piece that measures just under 6 3/4, and then a white piece to write my message, 6 1/4. So this is almost done it again. Forgot to add the quick grab glue. It's the same sort of construction as the stand. You just follow the curve around. You just start off anyway, it's fine. You just want to be mindful where your starting points are when you go to attach it to the front or to the stand. I like to have mine on the left and right hand side, and I'll show you what I mean shortly. So as I said, just follow that circle around. So you probably want to cut about 1 inch away from So I'll measure the discarded piece now. Yeah, 1 inch. So you want one piece of 11.5 and one piece of 10.5 if you're using the sort of the same size circle as me. So just go around now and press those tabs down. Make sure they're nice and firm in place. And I've got another circle to fit inside, just to hide those tabs and give it a nice finish. And then I've got this white piece then to sit just on there, and it's got slight border. So this is actually Christmas pattern paper, but I thought it was quite a subtle sort of background, and I just wanted some noise just to add a little bit of detail to the card. And because it's a silver anniversary, it's got you know, different color greys, so I thought it worked quite well. So go around and press that in. Like so. And then I'm just going to place that within the centre, so there's a very slight border on there. Then I've got this circular frame. It's going to attach to these tabs just to give me a starting point. And then I'm going to add an acetate piece just there to have sentiment floating. Well, the number 25 floating, the sentiments on the stand. And then I've got this to sit over the top. I think it's super cute. I'm so pleased with it. I saw, I just went on to Pinterest for some inspiration. I saw this sort of idea of a card, but it was more of an internal pop-up with the wedding ring, and I thought it looked absolutely gorgeous, and it had some flower detail on there, which I'll be adding shortly, and the 25 in the center. So I thought I would try to replicate that using this sort of style of card. And I know lots of you asked me to sort of make these videos without using dies, and to be honest with you, sometimes I'm quite reluctant to do that, because I'm on the design team for Made to Surprise, and I think it's sort of, my channel is to give some inspiration to those that do buy those dies and like that particular brand, in terms of what I add to being a design team member. So I'm just adding some quick grab glue along here. Just to be able to hold that in place. And then you just basically want to just press it over the top. So actually those tabs are a bit big and they're showing, so I'll need to trim those down. Again, I'll make adjustments to the measurements, where I would cut a half inch, not a half inch, a quarter-inch tab. So second time lucky. So I've got the joins just here. So that's where I'm going to line up my acetate piece. So I'm just going to add a little bit of red glue, red liner tape I should say, just on both sides of this acetate. So this is about 1 inch by just under 6.5. So that should fit nicely inside there, and then that's going to support that numbered piece. You don't have to add this piece. You could have the 25 on the back there, but I thought it was quite cool to sort of have it as if it was floating. So I'm just going to place that down in the center. And then I'm going to add some quick grab glue around this frame, which is going to help strengthen it now, because I'm adding additional pieces to this. Perhaps I should have used the Collal glue, but There we go. And then I'm just going to place this just towards the right hand side. So you could achieve this sort of shape with some silver mirror card. You're using 2 sort of circle dies to cut your frame. So that measures about 1/2 inch wide. Then these sort of pieces you could cut triangles, and then I just got this image from my computer, and you could easily fussy cut that out because that's sort of quite an easy shape. So I'm just going to work my way around, pressing that into place. And then I'm going to attach the stand. I want to make sure that that 25 is straight. I'm using hot glue for this. Just double check that that is straight, which I believe it is. And then I've got a little bit coming up the back there. I'm just going to take the excess away with my tweezers. So it's starting to get a little dark, so I've turned my lamps up. I hope it hasn't affected the lighting too much. I'm going to have a little bit of glare from the mirror card. Hopefully that's kept to a minimum. And I've got some further decoration here then with these gorgeous flowers. So I think I want to have just like a cluster just there on the one side. And another cluster at the bottom, making sure I don't hide that sentiment. And then I've got some of these sort of sprigs in silver and some leaves then in, a nice sage colour and a darker green. I think it's starting to come together really lovely. So I'll probably pop you on high speed now while I finish adding the further decoration, and I'll come back to you once it's finished. So there's the final card. I think it looks absolutely stunning. It stands up unaided. Hopefully if I can get that on screen. And apologies for the lighting. As I said, it's sort of later on in the day now, so the lamps are sort of reflecting on the mirror card. But you will see sort of in the photos, maybe I'll add one at the end of it in the natural daylight so you can see it in its true glory. But I think this is absolutely gorgeous. Just love how it's all come together. Like, it's a different sort of unusual card for an anniversary. This would be perfect for a wedding card, but this particular card style is so versatile and is great for any occasion. So I think I'll do a second part to this where I'm going to do a gift bag to house this. Maybe I'll have an acetate front, could be an acetate box, we don't know. See where it goes. But I hope you've enjoyed today's video from me. If you have, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit the like button, leave a comment, or consider subscribing to the channel. I haven't used any specialty dies to make this, so it's only sort of the floral dies that I've used, and I don't think they're available, but if anything is available I will link it in the description box below for you. I hope you have a lovely crafty day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.